So, as you guys saw by the title, I'm pretty much just gonna be sharing my personal complaints and pretty much everything that I have found wrong with not just Pixonic or my games or this game in general, but most mobile games, overall, the whole industry. And right now, we're gonna really just focus on this specific game. So, right off the bat, I would say the first thing that really sucks is the matchmaking. I think I had posted a while back on one of my posts on YouTube, and I had screenshots of encountering a MK3. What is it? Fafnir? Purple shield. The wannabe Fenrir, but the one that flies in the air. I think it's called Fafnir. Regardless, there's been plenty of times that I've encountered on my new accounts or on baby accounts when I would be running in bronze, silver, even gold league, and I would be encountering maxed MK3 Fafnirs, robots that could be bought right from the store, which is a whole other issue. That's another issue, is the economy. There should be, in zero universes, a way to buy any MK2 gear while you're sitting in bronze, silver, or gold league, regardless whatever level you are. That shouldn't be available at all until you get promoted into let's say, expert and masters. Anywhere from expert and diamond to masters, then it would be okay to. It should be an unlockable feature. Only access to people expert league and above, because at least by then, most people, if they know what they're doing, should have a hanger equivalent to the power level of MK2 here. But unfortunately, that's not the reality. Unfortunately, there's always gonna be a bunch of players that quit, mainly because Pixonic thinks that, they don't think, they just want the money, of course. So obviously, they're looking for any way to profit, and they're gonna just automatically let new players buy whatever off of the shop, as you can literally see here in the store. You can literally see there's a Dux. That one's level 1. Literally next to that, you could see MK2 Vortex, Goss, 4 of them, all MK2. All the resources, Waller Titans. Let's go to equipment. Oh yeah, and then all this. MK2 Raptor with all of its equipment, Dagon. Most of this stuff you can pretty much find in deals, even at lower leagues. Even if it's not that exactly, you will find a bunch of MK2, MK3 deals in lower leagues, which is sad, but that's just the reality. And that is a big issue. And then there's also the other issue, not just with necessarily matchmaking, but with the fact that, let's say, for example, if you're running squads and it's just you and another player, and there have been times that we've encountered a full 6-man team, 6-man squad or clan, while we're only running duos, and it is a very annoying issue. Or even if you're running 3 people, it should only match you with the exact number of players you have in your squad. If you have 2 people in your squad, it should only be another 2-man squad on the other team. If there's 3 people, then it should be 3 people on the other team. Simple as that. But unfortunately, still hasn't been fixed. I would say it's been a little bit better. At least if you're running duos, you won't run into a 6, full clan a lot of the time. Only if you're running more than 3 people. Then it becomes an even bigger issue. And another thing also still hasn't been fixed. Sometimes this does tend to happen where you invite someone and they will appear offline. Like, they'll have this red dot next to their name and they'll be online, but it's pretty bugged. Or sometimes you'll invite people and it'll say server unavailable, or it will say they joined, but then their name is blank and there's dots in the chat. So pretty annoying. Had that happen quite a while ago, a couple weeks ago, and it's been happening a lot more recently. So definitely another issue. Other than that, is also the issue I've been having with this thing. Supposedly, I'm in Champions League here, but then when we go to my league, I'm in Master League 1, and I know, yes, it says 5 battles left, but that's the point. If it says that I'm in Master League 1 and it's undefinable what league I'm actually in, it should just put the default league that I was most recently in, or the one that it says right here, which is Master League 1. Because all that does is make it harder for people to reach the milestones in order to get their prizes. So that needs to be fixed for sure, ASAP. Yeah, just another issue. Of course, overall, you already know the issue with Intel is obviously the fact that regardless of whatever build you run, it's pretty much going to be nerfed. And the issue is really with the newer robots, because it doesn't matter how much you play, how many games you do, it is significantly and purposely implemented for newer robots to not get as much intel unless you have the robot yourself. Because I've ran into this thing hundreds of times already, and it should not be only 5%. Of course, that's how it is with newer robots. And then Ultimate, don't really have a problem with them besides the fact that their equipment is too OP. While the robots themselves aren't all that powerful, the weapons, for example, Ultimate Havoc, Ultimate Ion, when you allow people to get access to more than, 3 or 4 of these weapons, it doesn't matter how much intel you have on it, it's ridiculously overpowered. Shouldn't have even been existing in the game in the first place. But the fact they take no measurements or precautions at all, knowing that there's going to be people that could run 6 of these on like a Dagon or 5 on a Ravager, yeah, that's really pretty self-explanatory. Next issue. There's another bug. Anyways, the gambling mechanics. Oh man, probably one of the biggest issues in the majority of mobile games in the industry. And we'll say, and, even now, if they added the percentage, definitely not the same thing. Trust me. They have manipulated the chances where pretty much force you to spend, regardless of whatever it says when you tap on the question mark. And I noticed from my paid account, not this account, but an original account I had, whenever I did spend on that other account, I noticed significantly higher drops for better loot. Of course, not really surprised there. It used to be. I feel like they have improved on it somewhat this update. And back then, you could get like 250 components for like a nerfed common weapon. And even now, I would say it's still pretty bad, because even though they have stuff like increased chances, most of the time you're gonna get like pilots, especially on the gold pads. The amount of times I've gotten pilots or nerfed or weaker, or I guess less relevant weapons like this one instead of the ones I'm looking for. The amount of times that have happened is ridiculous. And they know they do it on purpose. They know what they're doing, obviously, of course. Like, we will all say that it's exact the same percentage, but it's really not. It's really not. Especially tiny data packs. If you don't open, if you don't have 10 of them, you're pretty much not going to get the weapon you want. It's very, very rare to actually get the specific weapons. For example, the Equalizer I've been trying to get, but it keeps giving me Arbiter. Yeah, stuff like that. Well, overall, gambling mechanics shouldn't ever be in any type of game at all. Especially when there's children that play this game. But I'm not even going to really go into that. Other than that, modules still extremely hard to gather or to usually matter. Even if you use the crates here, this 150 is not going to do much. Even if it's every week, in a month you can maybe gather I don't know, about 700 something if you're just going off of these. And then there's the ads, still very buggy. I guess mine finally loaded back in. It doesn't matter if you're on mobile or a PC. I noticed they're still very buggy. A lot of them will just say unavailable until the timer runs out, which then aren't able to get access to them anymore until it resets. So another issue there. Leaderboards. Oh man, where do I even begin? The prizes are absolutely shit now. I don't care if this gets copyrighted or not copyrighted, demonetized. Because honestly, yeah, I don't really care. I'm not gonna be making bank off of videos like this. This is kind of just about sending a message. So, like I said, the prizes are absolute shit now. Pixonic does it on purpose. They know that, yeah, it's literally trash weapons that have been nerfed, own weapons, stuff that's not even relevant at all. And then even the prizes on there for the resources are still pretty trash. They have been significantly nerfed. I remember most leaderboards back in the day, you could get a token in almost every leaderboard, especially if you're in lower leagues, but they have nerfed so much about that. Milestone, pretty much impossible to reach like this. You're not getting without spending a fortune. Even the third tier milestones are pretty much impossible to get unless you've saved up for months and months, possibly even years. And it's not worth it at all. Yeah, no one's gonna have like 100 weapon data pass to be getting out without spending at least a couple, almost 100. Yeah. And even if, let's say, you do get first and there's a leaderboard with a token, Pixonic purposely, or my games purposely puts bots like this guy, Strappin. I've seen him around a lot. And other people, it's almost impossible to tell between players and bots. But a lot of time, let's say, even if you spend, if you get a high place, there'll be a bot that will catch up to you in an unreasonable amount of time by the time you get back on. And will pretty much forces players to spend even more. Again, it's stupid because all this is doing is driving more and more players away. But they only think about the money that they might get in the short amount of time instead of thinking smart and trying to keep a lot of players by doing the right things and therefore earning even more money for even longer periods of time. But yeah, greed blinds a lot of people from thinking smart, even financially. A lot of people are impatient, not just on the player side, but on the developer, on the executive, on the CEO side. So, unfortunate. But yeah, milestones are pretty much impossible. Maybe in the first two you could get if you really grind. Yeah, prizes are pretty shit nowadays. Not worth it at all. Yeah, you can literally see this weapon has been out for years now. Doesn't make sense why it's on. Literally not even worth it. Not to mention you're not even getting the full weapon. That's amazing. You're getting components for getting first place. Awesome. And to get first place, you have to beat all the bots and pretty much spend. I'm not even going over this. It's really for any free-to-play player, even people that spend a little bit. Yeah, leaderboards are no longer worth it. I remember back then, before they nerfed it, there used to be a Titan. They would upgrade their kid Titan back then to 1 and 2 leaderboard, which unfortunately Pixonic in my games pretty much stripped away and nerfed. So now you pretty much have to have like upgrading tier 3, tier 4. I'm not sure if tier 2 still counts. Regardless, it's going to be more expensive either way. But players, me and a couple other players used to pretty much upgrade a Kid Titan. We would save a platinum, sell the Kid Titan, and then pretty much recycle that. And we would wait until discount days, and it would make it so much easier because then we could just use the remaining platinum that we have to buy another Kid Titan and then upgrade that one. And yeah, pretty much recycle that whole thing and get a bunch load of silver for selling the old previous Titan. Yeah, unfortunately that no longer exists. And nowadays you don't even get tokens for those leaderboards anyways. It's pretty rare to actually see a token on any leaderboard in general. If there is, most of the time I'm assuming it's going to be something that you pretty much have to spend on. Or the one that's going to be filled with a lot of bots, like the Champion League leaderboards. There's going to be a lot of scripters, no-lifers, bots, hackers. Pretty much impossible to get without like hacking or spending a fortune. Even then, won't guarantee you. So another issue, big issue, the black market. Ooh, man. It is impossible to get certain weapons and robots nowadays because they're literally not even hidden or unlocked or locked behind anything. They just don't exist for a period of time. Just like the workshop, once they're released and no longer part of the data pad selection, then they're just lost. They're not in the chest or in the idiotic data pads because it will tell you, it will send you if you click on it, get more, and it will just tell you that it's in here, but it's obviously not. Like the Athos weapons, you literally can't get those right now unless you go to the store and literally buy it for like $12. Because you can't get the Athos at all. And other equipment, stuff that players really want but just aren't available. And the same goes for the workshop. It is very rarely updated. The latest that they have, they don't even have the Curie. That thing has been out for like 2 or 3 years now. Yeah, unfortunately. So workshop. I think the latest robot you could get is Angler, which I think came out in like 2021. We're already going to be going into 2026, so yeah, that's pretty self-explanatory. Yeah. And of course, by the time they do come in, they're obviously have already been nerfed 2 to 3 times. So again, unfortunate. Another big issue that Pixonic thought they were slick for. Whenever a player reaches milestones now for workshop levels, you no longer get the 10,000 gold for reaching level 30. How I know? Because I recently just did that on this baby account and only received 1,000 gold. They have nerfed pretty much everything and anything that you could possibly think of when it comes to not just free-to-play players, but features in general. You used to be able to acquire 10,000 gold for every big milestone in the workshop, like level 30, level 40, 50, so on and so on. And now if you check these stats on their website, it will only give you 1,000. Some of them don't even give you gold, some of them just give you silver. So, very unfortunate. Oh, and another thing. I noticed if you were to compare the amount of components you get from the previous edition of the workshop to now, it is insanely more difficult to get more components now for any tier 4 robots. Even tier 3, the only bonus now is that weapons, at least specifically tier 3 weapons, have been buffed in the sense that you get more components, because back then you only used to get like, I don't know, 140 for each spot, and there are 6 spots, so that's about 840. But yeah, those are daily. But now, even if you just have 2 spots used here for say example this avalanche, it only gets 450 daily. If you put 2, you can get like 900. So it is significantly higher as far as tier 3 weapons. I think weapons in general are a bit higher, but robots, it's pretty much impossible. You get 250 components, 750 in total. Back then, you would have 6 spots, and you could get, I think, for tier 4, it used to be, I think it was about 120, and 140 for tier 4. It might have been different though, correct me if I'm wrong. Regardless, it was probably higher because you had more spots, and the components were still pretty decent. So to say, I think it might have been 120. So 6 times 120 is going to be about 720, which is actually it is a bit lower than right now, but at the same time, if you did that 3-day, it would save you silver, and I think you would still get more components. Regardless, though, I noticed it's a lot slower to get robots here. As far as the tier 4 equipment goes, tier 3 is fine because, as you can see, it does look significantly higher, which is of course why I'm building tier 3 equipment. But tier 4 has been massively nerfed as far as the workshop goes. Operations. Oh man, I actually just recently posted on this. All of this useless. Literally shouldn't even exist. They should have just kept it right here. Most players won't even reach all of this anyways, unless you're literally no life and you're grinding in a very specific way every day. And data pads were pretty much nerfed. I remember you could get like multiple with one spot. Also nowadays they just give you the majority of them are blue data pads, some red, and then like if you do reach the end you get this thing, but this will only give you components, 500 components most likely. And then this one, best investment. That's funny. They have nerfed this operation 3 times now. The amount of silver and power cells, platinum, and even memoriam. I specifically remember you used to get half of what was in the premium edition. So this memoriam used to be like 500. Then they nerfed it to 400, and now they just recently nerfed it all the way to 100, which is crazy. That's pretty insane because now you're not even getting a portion. You're getting a fraction of what the people using premium get. Tickets were nerfed. I remember those were like 500. Silver was nerfed. Platinum was nerfed. Pretty much the whole operation was nerfed for the free-to-play players, which is not a surprise at this point. And it's significantly harder to acquire resources now, especially if you don't reach the full length of this. Very sad. This one, not much to say on it. Yeah, I don't really know what to say on this one. Oh, other than the fact that this is a lie. This right here is impossible to reach because it literally does not matter how many resources or how much you win from here, whether you get data pads from gift marathons, event marathons, giveaways, Facebook giveaways, any external and internal support will not help you to get this ultimate thing. Any player telling you otherwise is lying. It is an undeniable fact. It is quite literally impossible to get this from both of these without spending. I've pretty much been following up through with most of them, maybe missing 3 or 4 days. Even if you were to take those into account, there is about 2 weeks left. Even if I was to follow each one and follow through with them every day, we would not reach the ultimate data pad at all. At most, we would reach this thing. I think if we accounted for all of the other days that we might have missed, which is not that many at all, I'm not even sure if we would have reached this. Realistically, it's only possible to reach the 35 or this common data pad right here on the 35 unit. So very unfortunate, and it's not like that ultimate data pad. Even if you somehow obtain it, it's gonna matter anyways. Most of the time, it will give you either nerfed ultimate equipment or just pretty useless equipment in general. Yeah, it's not even like it's MK2. You still have to spend an absurd amount of silver, gold, and other resources just to get it to a decent level, all for it to be nerfed probably a month later. Of course, is another issue. I think most players already know this by now, or at least the ones that somehow stayed. Most equipment here in this game is nerfed. At least the newer equipment is nerfed after about 1 season or a month of of sales. And the only reason why it might not be nerfed is maybe because it's really popular or is just really gaining a lot of sales for my games and Sonic. So other than that, also old equipment is also still very much nerfable. There's been plenty of times, even in recent updates, where old equipment has been nerfed. Another thing, speaking of equipment, Tier 1 and Tier 2 is pretty much non-existent in terms of performance. All the modules have been stripped away for Tier 2 and Tier 1, and it's pretty much impossible to try to even compete at all. As much as players want to say, well, it's beginner equipment, no, it's not, and it shouldn't be, regardless. If someone wants to run Tier 2 equipment in Champion League, it should not be nerfed. Simple as that. If they want to run a full hanger of equipment like this, there's no reason why it should not have some kind of competitive side to it. Another issue, skins. Way too expensive for some skins. For example, this thing here, Tier 2 equipment, but the skin is 10,000 gold. There's not a single reason in any universe it should cost that much. Even for a basic one that doesn't give you any stat bonuses at all, it's still quite ridiculous. Yeah. That should never have been introduced in the game. As far as being that expensive, and it's honestly not worth it at all. Like, the amount of gold I have right now would be devoured by this simple skin anyway. Should have been changed years ago, but obviously they don't pay any attention to any of that stuff anymore. Speaking of stuff they don't pay attention to, it is literally impossible to maximize your starbase level. Because recently, not even recently, after the update for star bases, Pixonic pretty much completely ignored the remaining upgrades needed for Starbase or Citadel 10. You cannot, regardless if you're the most powerful clan or the weakest, they all share the same issue. You cannot get to Starbase level 60, you cannot maximize your Starbase, because Pixonic pretty much ignored this while chasing newer robots and creating more slot for players to spend and then to nerf later on. So yeah, there is that, and that sucks, you know. Also, way too expensive for some of these things. Maintenance should not be this much, regardless if you have 50 players or not, because as you can see, the majority of players, even in a good clan, only maybe half of them will actually be donating what they need to be donating. Yeah, that's just unfortunate. So the only thing that should actually be getting nerfed is the absolute insane maintenance costs for most of these things like the Max, regardless if it's a Max or not. Not really even gonna get into this, other than the fact that it should not be a whole fucking 400,000 jump in trophies just to get to the next rank from C to B, and then a couple million jump for the next tiers. That doesn't even make any sense at all. I'm not even sure how other clans do this without subtle hacking. I mean, obviously, of course, that's obvious. Yeah, if you didn't know, probably about 95% of all top clans, or clans in general, use hacks. Most of them have players that use subtle hacks. For starters, if I can remember any off the top of my head, the AG, or Gold, whatever you want to call them, AG, HUD, those are the only ones I really remember now. Pretty much 95%, or all the top clans hack. This is pretty much a known fact. Along with the top players. This literally has been screenshotted multiple times with hackers taking over Legend League. honestly, it's not an accomplishment at all. This just means you either know life and literally run scripts while you're asleep or offline, and use subtle hacks to win, even though you already have meta ultimate equipment with the highest tier. So yeah, never really planned on getting in here when there's other hackers and players that use subtle hacks, players that blatant hack, players that use scripts, all that stuff for people that just exploit bugs. Yeah, that's not even not even really a surprise. Oh, speaking of hacking clans, yeah, here's another one. The NT, seen them quite a while. Seen them all over the place. Yeah, not even a surprise. It's funny, they still have to use all that equipment and subtle hacks just to win a couple matches. But yeah, clans like NT, clans like Home, clans, obviously you already know. What Russian, Mexican, and Chinese clan doesn't use hacks? If you guys have any clans of other countries that don't use hacks, seriously, let me know. Oh yeah, another hacking clan, the MF, seen them a lot. Use a lot of players in their clan use subtle hacks. NT, the Stars, Iron Stars, Hun Clan, Heat Clan, the KR Clan, the Star Clan, RBR, X, Gods. Pretty much, as I said, yeah, most players in this league, if not all of them, use hacks in one way or another. Use exploited bugs that have yet to be fixed, because most of the time they're purposely implemented by Pixotic. Everyone remembers all those old bugs from when the Scavenger Shell was new, and then it would be the special edition of the next meta robot, and then the next special edition robot, and they somehow would always be bugged either by not taking damage or doing way too much damage, or like the Bedware when it first came out. Oh man, the memories of getting literally obliterated and melted by the new flame titan weapons in under 2 seconds, even on my paid account with like 3 million durability titans, and it would be gone in an instant. And then Pixotic would say they fixed it, and it would still be outrageously overpowered. Not a surprise at all. This pretty much happens every update. Whenever there's a special edition, it's not a bug really per se. Pixotic calls it a bug. It's just an exploit that has been purposely implemented into the game for all the new players and players alike to just spend to get that specific version, so that way they can exploit it themselves. Very unfortunate. Other than that, I think that's most of the issues right now that I can think of. Oh, my bad, I forgot. The amount of insane lag and bugs that I've encountered in PvE, which has frustrated not just me, but the amount of players that do this in general, happens way too much, where you'll be like so close to getting the platinum score, and the game will either crash or will start freezing up a lot. You can even see in my recent videos, even during regular games, there would be literal freezes for like a whole 20 frames or whatever, and I would be dead the next second after that. And a lot of players or a lot of YouTubers would say, oh, well, it's a device issue. Probably the biggest bullshit I've heard in a while. It does not matter what device you play, because I myself play on PC, I play on Steam, emulator. Right now, I'm literally playing on mobile, and it has yet to be fixed. Lag has always existed, but it's gotten so bad to a certain degree that it's almost impossible for some players to play. Having overall shittier equipment or shittier devices to play with already makes it worse. So yeah, very unfortunate. And then as far as the rewards go, these have been nerfed like twice. I remember you could get like 200 platinum from the first two levels, 500 platinum, I think. You would get 250 platinum from the third level, and yeah, overall everything here has been nerfed. As you can see, this isn't even equal. These used to be 1,000 gold, but they nerfed it in half. Same thing with the tickets. I think you used to get like 1,000 tickets, and then it went to 500. Now it's 250, and this is level 5, by the way. Yeah, prizes have been significantly nerfed over time. I don't even know, like, this isn't even useful. The only thing useful here is the platinum and maybe the silver and tickets. And then, other than that, it's also pretty much impossible to even get this because level 4 has, for some reason, always been harder than level 5. And then Pixonic always randomly changing the requirements to obtain the platinum score, like every week now. It's always something different, so you have to constantly be changing equipment or just pretty much using your brain at 1,000% like I have to somehow find the weirdest combination that will work and that will actually get me what I need. And it's really insane, like the jump from level 3 to 4, you'll be going to face like MK1 level of equipment on the Grey Swarm to like MK3 on level 4. And yeah, no players in general are going to be able to get the full platinum score all over levels 1 through 5. It's pretty rare even for me, even though I know what I'm doing and what combinations work. It's very rare. Only just recently I actually got a full overall platinum score on the entire hunting grounds, and I had to spend hours of using different combinations of equipment like shell, raptor, the electric weapons, everything that's supposed to work, and it still took that long. So yeah, that's amazing. Yeah. Other than that, yeah, matchmaking is still pretty crap. The hacking is still pretty popular. Subtle hacking is pretty popular. The economy is still pretty bad. The equipment is still pretty nerfable. Nothing pretty much escape nerfs. It's very rare nowadays, unless you're using something so old that it's not even remembered by Pixonic. So, yeah, these are probably the issues that I can remember right now. For example, like the motherships. Oh, man. Imagine getting one-shotted by just a simple button press. It's like crazy, ain't it? But when you have stuff like this, and then you have stuff like this, and you can equip multiple of these, and one-shot any low tier or just any fragile robot in general, that's pretty insane, considering that they can't even heal it. Because if you apply 2 of these, plus any other damage, modules, or whatever, you're looking at pretty much 200,000 gray damage instantly in a button press. And that's not to mention you also still have this one, where you can apply damage enforcement. And yeah, pretty crazy. I wouldn't say this mothership in general is pretty balanced. I mean, considering it's gonna get nerfed already, this isn't the problem. The problem is impossibly obtainable or very rarely attainable exclusive content like this that can be pretty much acquired if you pay a lot, like the meta players do. And if you do want to get into free to play, you have to pretty much save up all your tokens from PvE, if you get any, and pray and hope that the chances, which still hasn't been fixed so you can't even see it, that the chances are in your favor and that you somehow get a 1 out of 10,000 chance of getting any of these turrets here. Which, by the way, are deleted if you try to replace them with any other ones. It used to be different. You used to be able to put them on any other mothership, but now you have to buy it and it's there permanently, or else it will be deleted. Yeah, awesome. So I think that's it for now. If you guys also have any concerns or any other issues that I might not have brought up, let me know. Yeah. Alright. Peace out.